Nature Chem Testing Laboratory A21, 12th of November 2032. Please don't leave me. I don't want to be left alone. I wipe my eyes as I try to look at Doyle in a serious manner. That's all she said, Doyle. All she said before that infernal virus took hold of her. Doyle sighed, resetting his thin glasses back on his nose. I'm sorry, Martin. I had no idea. Honestly, I didn't. It's not my word on who gets swept up by Zinetbot. It's the word of my supervisors. If they keep developing this virus, they won't have any words to use those damn things, I said back. A tinge of anger started to bubble away in my throat with every spoken word. My darling Sonia, look at what your precious virus did to her. Both me and Doyle looked back through the glass, keeping us between the test subjects. It had only been about 3 minutes since the latest version of Virus X2, codenamed the Silent Sounder, had been unleashed on the poor fools in the chamber. The test subjects were thought to be useless to society, mainly homeless bums and repeated sex offenders who obviously didn't learn the lessons the prisoner tried to teach them. Nothing morally serious. Normally they were just called for testing harmless cosmetic products, but every now and again, the netbot that they entrusted to round up these hapless and broken souls would try to catch what it thought was a beggar or a repeat, but it wasn't. Doyle had been working on the bot in the past, and all he could say about its glaring issues was that AI was vague. The AI was much more than vague. I sometimes wondered if the robot had a mind of its own and hated the virus just as much as I did. It swept up the upper classes with gusto, depositing them to the chambers and letting the virus do its work. The virus itself was deployed as a haze-like smoke and was a very unsettling purple colour. The gas had only just begun to subside, its vapour becoming clear and harmless, and allowed us and the team beyond our visual reach to look upon the results. The test subjects were in a horrible state, their skin black and malnourished. Their throats had rotted the worst, and with little but bones and bare flesh keeping them alive, and a few were pitching their mouths floorward and vomiting a green lumpy slime that had once been their vocal cords. Sonia was lying in the middle of the fiasco, her flowing pink hair being the only reminder of her identity, as her red and purple clothes had become encrusted with blood and more of the vocal goo than any victims around her. She had hobbled her body to the fetal position and was silently trying to sob her way into the sweet mercy of death, but slowly began to rot into a puddle of blood. There were no screams, no wails, no sobs, no begs for mercy. There was only silence. The depth of a language on a despisable level. I began to feel sick and horrified. Tears welled in my eyes and vomit in my throat. My knees seemed to reorganize our atoms into a jelly-like structure, and I fell to them as I grasped at the window in desperation to save her. But she was gone, as was everyone else. I turned to Doyle and said, "Is this what they want? They want to repeat of Project Nova? Raccoon City? Has this company learned nothing?" "Those for games, Martin," Doyle said with his own anger in his voice. "This is reality. No one wants to believe it, but Nature Chem rules this pathetic world." "Why?" "I don't know, it just does. It always has. Nature Chem rules this world behind the backs of everyone, and everyone wants to fight back. Our superiors think the best way to get rid of resistance is with Virus 2X. The only way to cure resistance is to take away the voice of the people. And their lives! Look, I don't like it any more than you, but I had little other choice," Doyle cried in despair. The resistance will try harder than we ever could at mass extermination, but our superiors don't know that. They want to be the best, so they never stop. We built a world on high-class, low-cost cosmetics, and suddenly we're the new Freemasons." "Resistance?" I asked, calming down somewhat. "Voice reclaimers? I've seen their members, layabouts in shredded clothes and headbands. How could they pose a threat?" Doyle's response was to suddenly limp over to a nearby window that normally would overlook the parking area. He opened the shutters, and I almost yelled in shock. There on the ground were hundreds of those layabouts brandishing swords and AK-47s with laser converters duct taped to the barrels, swarming into the complex. In the distance I could see various drones spraying previous versions of gas around the area, and the people below us were half rotting in a similar way to the test subjects, but seemed to be healing and enraged. Lasers and screams could be heard below us. Doyle was just looking over to the nearby doorway. "I had to do something," Doyle sighed. "And I did. Got your little letmouse to storm this infernal place would burn it to the ground. If I were you, I'd put on your gas mask." I did so, and what came next was a large explosion. I skidded across the floor and got up again to see Doyle's form being peppered with lasers. Multiple master members were standing before me with their leader at the front. Her pink hair and vivid clothes almost brought a heart attack in me as I stammered her name. So, yeah? Looks like Doyle was right, the leader said. He's alright. Get up! I was brought to my feet and handed an AK with the same laser converter. Sonia looked at me in a semi-playful manner. Got a look cleaned, right? She said in an almost smug way. Now then, get up and get moving. We'll show Nate to check that we will reclaim our voices. Silence is golden, they say. Well, we'll see to that, won't we?